I started the recording, Ashanti.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Elena. Because I'm not very good at presenting everyone and speaking, so I have the my PowerPoint on my screen, so forgive me. So again, welcome to the Exterior Property Cleanup Pre-Bid Conference, RFQ number 186364. This is a rescheduled meeting from, I believe, last week, Tuesday. Um, you know, the city apologizes. There were some things going on and schedules got crossed. So I apologize and thank you for joining us today. This RFQ closes on 12/5 at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please make sure that your Oracle supplier portal is set to the correct time, and because we wouldn't want you to miss submitting your quote due to something as trivial as that. It's a matter of setting it in your supplier portal to make sure that the date is not like Central Time or any other time other than Eastern. The revised question due date is 12/25, which is next week. I figured I'd give you guys some homework for the weekend, but we'll have a short week because of the holiday. And I am Ashante Booker. I'm your buyer on behalf of the city for this action. And Elena, if you wouldn't mind monitoring the lobby and letting folks in, that would be great too. I appreciate it.
Got it.
So obviously this webinar is being recorded. Please everyone mute. We're going to let the presenters, do their presentations and explain some of the projects, and then we'll have questions at the end. If the questions are really complex or require, some further information or, contemplation by the city, we'll ask that those questions be put in the supplier portal. But we'll answer, light ones here in this meeting. Please use the chat function to ask questions if so you won't forget them during the presentation, and I'll go through them and answer them at the end. If it's something really pressing, obviously just for consideration of the presenters, just raise your hand and we'll get to you. Um, Next, we have a little bit of agenda, but before we do that, I'd like to introduce you to the General Services Department team, and we'll start with the director of that team, Mr. Harris.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jarrell Harris, Deputy Director for the General Services Department. I manage the Blight Remediation Division, and this RFQ is a part of our Blight Remediation Program. Thank you all for being here. I'm turning it to Drew.
Hey everybody, good afternoon. Drew Irwin. I'm a project manager with GSD Blight. So I'm dealing with the crews every day out in the field, surveying, dishing out assignments, and follow up. So thank you all for being here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elena Wooden, and I'm with GSD, a part of the business office, and I oversee the Blight Division.
Okay. Well, thank you for those introductions, and let's go ahead and get started. Um, who wants to take it first?
I'll step in and just like share some of these photos that we put together, just kind of some of the stuff that we run into in the field. Just give you a sense of, what does exterior property cleanup entail, X, Y, Z. So we're talking from the curb line back to the alley on any given parcel anywhere in the city. They could be city-owned properties, land bank properties, private properties, ownership unsure properties, if you can believe it. So this one right here, I mean, a lot of the messes tend to be built up in the backyards, right? So folks, it's just kind of what happens. You start climbing through, and lo and behold, then we find another toy back there, a vehicle. So what we're really looking for is really, you know, if possible, just making that curb appeal from the front, um, down to the lowest cut grass, and in the back down to the dirt. We don't want anything left behind. I have some more examples, Ashanti.
Yep, I'm on it.
All right. Same sort of deal here. Just trying to give you all a sense of, I mean, it can be a lot of different things. A lot of residential properties, a lot of overgrowth, You can keep going. Same sort of deal here, you know, you have a private residence on the left-hand side, and then on the right, people come and are dumping on the land bank lot next to this house. So we'll get that request, and then sometimes we'll pass that on to a vendor.
Next slide. Yeah.
Yep. This is a vacant school building. These tend to be really large properties, sometimes with a lot of different things going on. So just to kind of just show you the difference in scope, sometimes they're small residential properties with light overgrowth. Sometimes it's just a pile of debris, and other times we might ask you to jump in on a bigger project. Speaking of piles of debris, lots of curbside piles, and we've been leveraging our vendors heavily to help us pick these up as quickly as possible for the residents. Notice here,
Oh, let
if
me
you
go
could
back.
just,
Sorry.
sorry, I just got distracted by how well this vendor did at, you know, like blowing the sidewalk. So, you know, imagine a pile sitting there for, you know, 1-2 days. It could be raining. It could be a lot of different things in that pile. And, you know, I think they did a really nice job on this one of, you know, making it feel like that pile wasn't there. You know, we're not leaving a big divot. It's nice and clean. So, you know, we want to set standards that are in line with our in-house teams, and just keep that quality control on point. So that's an example of that. Good job there. Other types of jobs that come up in the exterior property realm, I mean, we're talking anything outside, anything out in the city. So there you go, sidewalks. Go on. And this, I threw this in at the end just to kind of show you kind of how assignments have been delivered in the past and what you might expect from the city when you're given an assignment. You know, we try to do our due diligence up front, you know, list the services that we're requesting on any given job, so it's all like really clear. But again, you can kind of see, you know, the one on the left is really straightforward. It's a big pile of tires. The one on the right is, you know, you might run into some issues. So, you know, keeping that line of communication open is essential. And that's what I put together.
Okay. All right. So now it's time for our questions and answers. I mean, I'm sorry, you know, light questions. We just you can raise your hand, or if you let me go to the chat and see if there's any questions in there. Uh, okay. Ron, 3R. Go ahead and unmute
Hello.
yourself.
Yes,
Hello.
ma'am. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
All right. So I had a few questions just off the rip, and I apologize if I missed them in the RFQ. I kind of lightly went over it before the meeting, but didn't have a chance to thoroughly examine it. So are these priced like as like hourly based? Are these priced as per cubic yard of dumpster? I also have a question on like dead animals, things like that. And then how often, like, how are jobs awarded? And then also turnaround time. If you guys award us something 2 days, 1 day, three, what is, so you got a few different ones.
Okay, so let's start with the how is this awarded part, and I'll let that seems to be my wheelhouse. And then I'll let the GSC department handle the other. So this is anticipated and solicited to be a multiple award. So there will be more than one vendor selected more than likely. And obviously it'll be awarded after city council. The contract will be designed in a way that we call not to exceed. So basically it'll be a contract with a not to exceed amount, and based on each work order, based on each job that's invoiced, you will draw down from that amount until the funds are exhausted. As far as the work part, I'll turn that over to the GSD department and let them deal with your questions one by one.
Can I clarify my question one more time? I
Sure.
apologize. So when I meant awarded, I don't mean like the actual bid. I mean, but like once whatever contractors you guys select are awarded, goes through that whole process. Is each job just awarded like, hey, this is your job, or is each job individually bid and awarded per contractor, like every individual job itself, or is it kind of like, hey, we got 20 of them, everybody gets 5 of them, and go from there?
That's more of an operational thing. I'll let Mr. Harris take over that.
Well, I was just gonna say, if you could, Ashanti, pull up the bid sheet. I think it'll help. We can talk through it, and that may
Okay.
kind of help answer the questions about
Absolutely.
how the jobs are awarded.
Okay, let me get to it. Let's go into overview.
And so while she's pulling that up, I can talk about what we're doing today, and it will more than likely be the same kind of process moving forward. The mayor has set our goal is to remediate, let's say 15 properties per week. And that varies because sometimes the properties are very big. Like I think Drew talked about there being some school sites, and we know that those take a little bit longer. Sometimes the properties are smaller, but our goal is to remediate somewhere between 10 and 15 properties per week. We generally will assign you a bundle of properties at a time, so maybe 5 or 10 properties. You'll get assigned those properties. We have already sent our in-house inspectors out to look at the properties, take photos, survey what is there, so we know what's there. We know if there are tires there, if there's a lot of dumping there, if there's a brush and overgrowth there, if there's a car, a vehicle, abandoned vehicle there. So we know what the volume of work is at that location. And so when we send you your properties, typically you will go out, take a look at them, and then figure out the best way for you to tackle them. Where do you want to start? Where are you going to finish? We generally want you to do, you will decide what's best for you, how you tackle the properties. Sometimes vendors, you may have a dump truck, you may have to get a roll-off container, so we allow you to figure out the best way for you to manage your list of properties that you've received. Generally, it takes 1 or 2 days per property. And so, which is why we do multiple vendors, because we need to be able to hit our number each week that we are trying to hit. So if you're able to do 5, the other vendor can do 5, and our in-house crews can do 5 a week, then we can hit our 15, right? So generally the expectation is that you are doing about 5 properties per week. But again, that varies based on the complexity of the thing that we've assigned you to do. It's not an exact science, but we may give you a school and then there's maybe 1 or 2 other properties, knowing that, hey, this is going to take you a long time to tackle this school site. But generally, we expect you to do a standard property in a day or 2, maybe a day for all the labor, and then the next day you come back and pick up the pile or do the final cleanup or the remediation or whatever else has to happen. Your other question was about how you price it. And so I believe Ashanti has the price sheet up now. Yep. And so, Drew, if you want to go through the price sheet and kind of talk about what each of these things are.
Okay, sure. So, I mean, I think a lot of the questions are revolving around this D column and how we're separating C and D with a per worker versus per crew. And Shanti, forgive me if I'm wrong. You might, or Elena, I think that the D column was introduced due to items 8 through, say, I can't see at the bottom there, like 8 through 12.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
the labor, quote unquote, labor element of this. So yeah, so you can ignore that column for the rest of them. Is that correct?
Yeah,
That's
I
how
think
we yeah.
I think it's just the orientation. So I think it should be a line item, like for each eight. So we'll discuss that internally, but I think that you can expect to see some changes. We'll go ahead and field all the questions just to get the feedback from industry. But I think we'll orientate this a little bit differently, and I'll amend it so that we can so that it can be a little bit more straightforward. But to answer the gentleman's question, so you remember in
Mm.
the slideshow, we had our work order, right? And so, Drew, share with them, like, use this tire one as an example, because that's like really clean cut.
Yeah, so I
So,
mean, on your bid sheet,
so we have
I,
a place for that. Let's see, tire removal.
right, so
Mhm.
it would be simply your bid per tire of removal on any given job.
So it would be
Now,
important when you go to submit your bid that that rate be fully burdened. So whatever it costs to run your gas in your truck, or if you have a grapple or whatever you use, plus the disposal and transportation, you want to make sure that that rate is fully burdened for whatever the cost would be to dispose of one tire. And then obviously you would then multiply it by however many tires are here. So when you get your work order, that's the work that, our inspectors and field techs have gone out and pretty much did a pre-inspection of, and they can be as straightforward as this, but then like you see on uh the example on the right, a little bit more complex, right? There's going to be some shrubbery removal, there's going to be some debris removal, those kinds of things, and you would want to communicate with your contact at GSD, which would likely be Drew in this case. Anything to add, Drew?
I don't think so. I think that what I'm seeing on column C and D, um, yeah, those hourly, like per worker and per work crew, that only will apply to 8 through 11, right? And then the other line
Yeah.
items are all,
Yep.
the unit is not a per hour unit, it's a per service unit. So it's per square footage, per opening of
Whatever
board
the
up.
unit, yeah, whatever the unit
Right.
of
So I
measure
think we might
is.
be able to lay that out a little bit more clear. And then yeah, per cubic yard.
Well, how many do you guys consider a crew? I guess that's part of the question. My apologies for not answering it or asking it correctly.
Um, I think that's kind of up to your bid. How does your organization operate? What does it take to be all to get a job done from the scope of a simple send a crew out to do a light overgrowth job to a bigger job? Um, so, our crews, what I could say is they're kind of based on trucks, right? So our crew sizes are, 3 people to a truck. So extrapolating that, I think is the way to do that.
So, did that, Mr. Ronnie, did that answer your question? Or did you have
Yeah,
more?
just the crew sizes just seems, yeah, three is what I would consider a crew. Like I said, fit in there, but you don't want someone pricing 2 and someone pricing 3, and it just, seems like it's kind of vague where people could, try to manipulate that number. But yeah, no worries whatsoever. The only thing I think I missed was an answer for like dead animals, things like that. Is that something we just toss in the 40-yarder? Is there something that we need to do specific with that?
Good question. So like hazardous materials and things like that, Drew, what's your protocol at this point? With running this program before, what did your previous contractors do? Or what do your internal crews do?
When it comes to animals, we call animal control. I have run into that with a vendor before, and they just contacted me because it was something that we didn't see when we surveyed. It was something that they had uncovered when they went back into the alley. So they gave me a call, and we had another city department come and handle that for them.
All right, thank you.
What about something like hazardous materials? Like, is there a method for those kind of items too?
I guess I would have to think of the appropriate
Yep.
example.
So what happens? Yeah, what happens today if we come across a hazardous material? We have BC, the Building Safety Engineering and Environmental Design department. They come out and do testing to determine what the material is, if it is indeed hazardous, right? So we may run across, say, a couple of barrels that we didn't see because it was overgrowth and the barrels were buried under something. And you go out and start clearing things and you come across, hey, there are a couple of barrels here. We'll send BSEED out to come and do a testing of it to determine if it is indeed hazardous. If it is, and we'll work with them to remediate that. You won't be required to remediate anything that is hazardous. If they decide,
Nice.
oh, it's just empty barrels with water in it, then yes, we'll ask you to take it away. But if they determine that after the testing that it is hazardous, then the city and our resources will remediate that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ronnie. I think Miss Taylor has her hand up. Hello, Miss Taylor.
Hi. The last item on the price sheet is to board up, but it specifies like pre-painted material or pre-painted board. Are we to provide this pre-painted board, and can you provide specs on what exactly you all are looking for there?
Yep. So that refers to when we do board ups, we're asking the vendor to pre-paint their board before you put it up. We don't allow raw like plywood or just wood to go up on the buildings, and so you would need to have pre-painted your board before it goes on the building.
I can show you an example. There's actually a good example in here of that. Let me share my screen real quick. It was the one with the school. You see the blackboards here, Miss Taylor? Is that an accurate statement that this is what you might be speaking of, Mr. Harris?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yep, thank you for that example.
No problem. You had your hand up twice. Is that all of those are your questions, Miss Taylor?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Ronnie, do you have your hand up again, or are you all done?
I am so sorry. I forgot to take that down. My
Oh, it's
apologies.
okay. It's okay. All right, let's see. There's another message. Hello, have you determined, this is from Monique Carter. Have you determined what a crew size? Oh, we did answer that. I think we'll discuss that as a team, and maybe we'll have some more information to it. Ms. Carter, can I charge you with asking that question in Oracle so we can provide an actual answer to that? Would you mind?
Not a problem. I'll do that.
Yep. And we'll come up with a more concrete narrative on that in the answer responses.
Okay, thank you.
So Andrea, what is the process for removing abandoned vehicles? I will switch back to our price sheet and I'll let Drew take over to explain how that would go, because there is a line item element for that.
Yep. What I'd say just off the top of the head is the process for removing abandoned vehicles citywide has it's mostly a police function. So We will be very, very, very specific if that job were to be assigned to you on any given property. Because more often than not, those vehicles, again, it's almost kind of like the same thing, same question with the hazardous materials. Like we have to hand that off to another department, and they have to check out that vehicle before anyone can touch it. So, and then in that case, they usually end up towing the vehicle. Now, where this does come in is items like trailers, um, you know, a boat or a vehicle that's in like uh, basically a state that couldn't be, you could never, it does come up and it does get assigned, but um, that's what I would say. Number one is that it would be a very specific request on the work order. Um, as far as your process for removing the abandoned vehicle, I'm not sure. I've seen a lot of different things.
So
So
let me
basically what
let me
I'm
jump in
hearing
really
is
quick.
that,
Just
okay, no problem.
yeah, yeah. Let me just clarify. So what we're asking you for pricing on is what is your cost to come and retrieve the vehicle, the boat, the trailer, the whatever the thing is, your cost to move it from the property and dispose of it. What would your cost be for that function? On that is what the price sheet is asking you for. There are instances where the police will come in and say, hey, we need you to have this thing moved to one of our storage facilities because it is involved in a criminal investigation, or we need you to move it somewhere. And so we'll just ask you to give us your cost for just towing. But that'd be a separate thing. And the contract will allow for miscellaneous services. But on the bid sheet, what we're asking for, if there is something that the police say you can get rid of, then what is your cost to pick that, remove that thing up from the site, be it a car, a boat, a trailer, an RV, or whatever, and then dispose of it? What is your cost to do that at a site? So that is what the bid sheet is asking you to provide pricing on.
Yeah, and that's probably a good question. Andrea, can I charge you with asking that question in Oracle for me, please, so we can provide a formal answer to that? I think that's something that maybe other folks might be interested in. Would you be willing to do that for
Sure.
me? Thank you.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, appreciate that. And so, like I said, the question deadline is let me make sure I don't misstate it. So the question deadline is 12/25. We will,
11:25 though, right?
you are absolutely correct, 11/25. Yes. So, and I'm gonna make this, I just corrected that, and I'll make the slide deck and a copy of this presentation or pre-bid meeting available on Oracle as well. Send it out to everyone. But those questions, we'll definitely address those, and we'll get them back to you before the break. Thanksgiving is the 27th, so you likely could expect them the 26th, if not the same day. But we'll endeavor for the 26th, and then you know, you guys can get ready to submit your bids shortly after the holiday, because that'll take you to what, next Friday? I mean, the Friday after, so 12/5. That should be enough time. Also, if you haven't already, I'd caution you to start trying to apply for your tax clearance, because that takes a couple of weeks to get. And in the event that we make an award before the holiday, I'm sorry, before the city shuts down, not likely, but it could happen on a recess agenda. We'd have to move quickly. So we'd want you guys to have your tax clearance already done. If you need assistance with your documents, that will be another thing that we would be like to capture in the RFQ process so we can move straight to award. Another thing you might want to consider is your CREO credits. This is using dollars where the contracts are susceptible for evaluation purposes, your CREO credits. If you do not submit your certificates, you will not get the credit, but it is eligible. So if you have them, please submit them. Let's see. Everybody clear on that? Does everybody know what Creo is? Okay. I'm gonna take the silence as you know what it is. Okay. What is the unit of measure for line 5? It seems to be missing a description. Let's go and look. Ah, good question. It is missing. Let me pull it up, GSD, and I believe I know the answer, but I'm going to let you all answer that, and I'll get that corrected and revised on the new sheet. So that question was for line item 5 here.
Yeah, that should say per cubic yard, correct, Drew?
We had it as per tree in the
Okay.
last contract.
True. Oh, okay.
Okay. Excellent question. I'll get that corrected on the new sheet. I think you can anticipate an amendment with a revised pricing sheet, everyone. The other ones we have addressed already. Let's see. Looks like it. Let's see. Hello, how soon after the bid deadline do you anticipate contracts to be awarded? So we currently have awarded contracts for that are gonna be good until mid-January. So our goal is to have no lapse in service. So you can expect, but we just got a new administration. So city council will be tricky. These do have to go in front of city council. So I would say you can expect sometime in January to expect an award for this. You think did I accurately kind of describe that, Mr. Harris?
Honestly, I would say it's going to be more like February.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about the holidays and then council coming back and all the things that'll be on the agenda. Plus, if you are just so for all of you who may be new to city contracting, once we make the recommendation for award, there's still a review process that has to go through the law department. There are a number of other sign-offs that have to happen. That takes a little bit of time, and then you have to go to a committee. The General Services Department is a part of the Neighborhood and Community Services Committee, so the contract will go to that committee, then get referred back to council. So it's a process. So I would say I would be a bit conservative and say it's more than likely going to be a February award.
Yep. I think I would agree. I was trying to be conservative. Drew, were you going to say something?
Nope. No,
Oh, okay.
I did see one more question here from Mohammed that I don't think we got to.
Okay. Did I not slide all the way down? Go ahead and read it, Drew.
He says, can we have the actual contract amount bid so we can better bid? Can we have the actual contract amount?
I'm gonna say no. And the reason why is because there's subject to the availability of funds. We'll be going through, our budgeting process. So at this time, I don't know that I would rely upon any budget amount we could give you now. I think you should just know that the contract will be not to exceed a certain amount. And
Right.
yeah, I don't think that we could
And
offer you
Ashanti,
one at this time. Mhm.
and these will be 2-year contracts, or these are multi-year contracts, correct?
Yes, this time they are 2 years. Last time they were only for a year. There will be 2-year terms this time. That's what you guys requested.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So we've kind of gone through our budgeting process. And again, we have a new administration coming in. So I think we'll defer to that. Obviously, once we get ready to go to city council and go through that process, that picture will become more clear. Um, um, the last contracts were somewhere just shy of the individual awards, I believe, were about 500,000, but that was only for a year. So that's the basic, ballpark, but you're not bidding on you're bidding on the task items. That's the pricing that you're submitting. Um, yes, but those contracts were initially approved for about $500,000 for a 1-year term.
I just double checked the scope, Ashani. These are meant to be 3-year contracts. That's what the scope.
Okay, and we want to do we want to stay with that? We'll clarify. We'll clarify in the
Yeah, we
questions.
can. Okay.
Because I was under the impression that they were 2 years, but they can be 3 years. So let's see who asked that question. Mr. Muhammad? Who asked the because I didn't see it in the chat. Who asked the term question?
It came up when we were
I think we just went there.
addressing.
Oh, we just went okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll provide a more solid answer to that. If I could charge someone to ask that question, Miss Taylor, since you're already asking one, could you ask that too, just so we get it on record, and we'll provide a more detailed explanation. You okay with that, Miss Taylor?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. So listen, if there's no more questions that we can answer here, anything that you think of while you're preparing your bid, please feel free to drop it in the supplier portal and we will definitely provide answers. Thank you for your time today and happy Thanksgiving, and we look forward to getting some bids from you guys. This is for this really important project. So bye for now.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right now.
Thank you.